welcome back to Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your boy, Drewbie Wilson. With more than 2 decades in the sales industry, I've seen it, heard about it, lived through a bunch of it, and now I'm here to bring it to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community. This show is all about bringing you the crazy-ass sales stories, the incredibly impactful tactics, and all the wild shit that goes along with sales. And today's guest is someone I'm very, very excited to have on. He is a business owner who's focused on helping business owners, but he and I both agree that sales is the foundation of creating a successful business. So I'd like you guys to welcome my friend, Mr. Byron Wolfe of CFO AF. What's up, brother?
Hey, bro. Thanks for having me on, man. That's a good intro. Yeah, we 100% know it is fucking all about sales, right? Like, oh, can I drop F-bombs? I didn't even.
No, this is a show for sales
it?
professionals, man. So I have there's going to be some stories on here. I've already had a couple of guests that brought some wild shit. So I'm excited for what you got today.
I love it. Well, we know like sales is everything, right? Am I a traditional salesperson? No, like that's not the main thing. We own multiple businesses. We do fractional CFO. We do tax strategy. I'm a CPA by like license, whatever you want to call it. I'm not a traditional salesperson, but like probably one of the best rules of business that I learned very early is that it's all about sales. Like you're constantly selling. You're always selling, right? And everything is a sale. Like if you're recruiting like team members, it's a sale. You got to sell yourself and your current team, your business, your core values. Like you're selling that stuff to the person that's going to work for you. And if you go into it like, well, I'm paying them money, so they should be happy. Like, no, that ain't going to cut it, especially in today's workforce, right? You want to take on investors. You're selling the business to them. You want to get a loan at the bank. You're selling the bank on, hey, man, this is a great business, and y'all need to give me money at a low-ass interest rate so I can grow this thing, and y'all make a bunch of money. It's all sales, right? It's all sales. So, no, yeah, I love it. Let's go.
No, and I appreciate that because you're right. It's something that I really wanted to bring on, and I'm glad that you touch on with this show is because sales is sales, but sales applies in every aspect. As you said, you're selling the investors on why they should give you their money. You're selling the bank on why they should trust you with their money. You're selling your spouse on why they should trust you to go out and start this crazy new fucking venture that you're getting into or take on this new commission-only role where it's like, honey, you've been making $100,000 a year. What do you mean you're going to walk away to commission only? That's crazy. Well, yeah, babe, I could make $1 million, and who fucking cares about those benefits? We can buy our own benefits out of that $1 million we make. But this is the journey, and this is how that conversation really shifts. And so, Byron, what I'd love to know from you, I mean, being a business owner who's also understanding of sales, give me a wild-ass story where you worked with someone or you were in this situation of like, bro, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen happen.
So I got a good one for you. So I'm currently involved in this company, but I'm going to give you the kind of the origin story how we got here. So a really good friend of mine reached out to me, said, hey, man, got this company. There's 2 owners. One of the owners just got like hemmed up. He's going to be in jail for a long ass time. The other owner is like kind of like, what do I do? Like, what's next step? Like, where do we go? And so I told him, hey, man, let me introduce you to my guy, Byron. Like, he's done this. He's built some companies, sold some companies, knows his shit, especially from a financial side. And he knows the people to like pretty much answer any question you got. So I'm like, yeah, man, 100%. Let's go. So I fly into the town that this little business is in. And so we go, we meet the owner, the out of prison owner, right? We go meet him for lunch, and I was on deck. There's a lawsuit that I did some valuation stuff. So I knew there was going to come a point sometime in that day. They needed me to hop on a quick call, little Zoom, did my little spiel. Hey, this is this, and I'd be done with it for the day. So we go in, we sit down for lunch. I'm like, hey, I might get this call randomly. I've got to step out. Let's talk about your business. So what's your sales? What's this? So we're talking about it, and I'm going fast because I'm trying to get it all in before I get this call to step out for this Zoom. And so I'm like, hey, this is what you need. This is your sales out. And I'm like, look, what you need is you need a team. You don't need a person. You need a team. I was like, this is what you need to do. I'm not telling you, that this is what you need to give me or anything like that. This is what you need to do. If you want to be fucking serious about this, you need to do. I said, you need to give away 40% of your company. And that 40% needs to be split between 4 people that are going to be able to rock all the aspects of the business so that you can start the process of exiting without exiting. Like a lot of stuff that you know, but you don't know everything. And so if you give away 40% of this company to the right people, you're going to be in much better shape, much faster. And he's like, well, how does that work? So we start talking a little bit about it. I'm like, look, you need this, this, and this, kind of play it out. And I get the call. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I'm going to step out real quick. I'll be right back. We'll talk about it. Didn't ask, and in sales, right? Worst thing you can do is like be the fucking, can I please have the sale? No sale. Hey, man, that's what you need to do. This is how it's going to fix all your problems, right? Get the call. Hey, man, got to step out real quick. Be right back. So I go out, get in the car, pop up the laptop, connect in, do my Zoom. It's like 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes. Get done with that, do the Testify, walk back into the restaurant, walking towards the table. And my guy that connected me, I go to sit down and I'm like, all right, well, what question? He reaches over, kind of gives me the tap, and he's like, he's in. And I went, do what? Give me a tap. He's in. I'm like, all right, well, do you have any questions? I'm thinking like, what do you mean he's in? Right? I'm like, well, what's it? And he's like, no, man, I'm sold. Let's go. So literally, this is probably 20 million company at this point, 18, 20 million. Literally, this guy's like, yeah, this little conversation, this probably 30 minutes at the restaurant where I'm like, you need this, 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 and this. This is how you need to do it. This is how you're going to exit. This is how you're going to fix all your problems. I leave. My buddy that connected me to the guy's like, yeah, man, yeah, he's in. Let's go. So I'm like, all right, let's fucking go. So we pay the check, we get up. Hey, man, let's go run by the facility. Let's go check it out, right? And so we're walking out, and my guy, and his name's Jake. So I'm like, Jake, bro, what? And he's like, no. He said, man, 2 minutes after you walked out, he's like, I want to work with that guy. How do we work with that guy? And he's like, he just told you. He needs 40% of the company because he's going to give 30% of it away to the other 3 people you need. He's going to hold 10, and it's going to solve all your problems. And the guy was like, is that a good thing? And he's like, bro, you got to make the call. Your company, you got to make the call. And he's like, all right, yeah, I'm in. Let's go. So literally gave away 40% of this company on a 30-minute, lunch date, right? Shit, I've never closed so fast in my life, and I wasn't even there for the close. Bro, I mean, and it was the perfect situation for him. We fixed all these other issues that he has. Everything's lined up. Dude, he's way less stressed. We're taking care of the legal stuff, the operations, the financial, changed everything. He's already pretty much about doubled in size since then. So his 60% that he used to own 100%, his 60% is probably worth 120 now, right? Because he's at least doubled, if not more. So yeah, great decision for him. But dude, how scary is that? Okay, I've got this massive company, and this guy's gonna tell me to give away 40% of it. How does that happen? So anyways, just wow, it worked out. It always does, right? Because and to me, I was like, well, shit, man, now I'm super incentivized, right? This is going to make a great story. So the end of this story can't be, and then we just ran it into the fucking ground, it has to be a success story.
So I went for chicken and waffles, got 40% of the business, and we fucked it all up. I don't know. I didn't even have to work for it. I blew it up. Yeah. That's not an uncommon story, though, Byron. You and I both know that shit happens where someone sits down at the table, has some slick talk, and is like, cool, give me half of your business. I'm going to make you rich. And then they just fucking destroy that, which is why guys like you exist. Oh, yeah. Right? It's why you are out there in the market doing what you do, taking care of people. Because while this is a fantastic, fun, and lighthearted story, there are a lot of these that don't go that way and aren't this fun and care-hearted.
Oh, no, absolutely not. And I've seen it. Well, you've seen it too. We've seen these people come in and I got all the solutions and I'm going to, take it to the next level and blah, 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 blah. And they get it, and they just fucking just start draining it. There's management fees and all this other stuff that comes into play. And it just gets, just pilfered. They just take it all. So, yeah, if anybody's listening, they're like, yeah, that's how I'm going to solve my problems. I will say this. If you're one of those people that is considering giving equity away, make sure your contracts are rock solid. Definitely get a legal team in place to make sure your stuff is solid. It's good to go. I'm big on that. A lot of equity in a lot of different companies. And we make sure our agreements are rock solid. And so even our operating agreement, it outlines it. Hey, you're in this, your equity. This is what you got to do. You're going to start getting diluted, and eventually you're out. It's perform or you're out. That's the reality. So highly suggest if you're considering taking on an equity partner, make sure that stuff is in place. We've got tons of them. We invest in multiple businesses throughout the year. I love the 10 rule. I don't know if you've ever heard the 10 businesses rule.
Mm-mm.
Invest in 10 businesses. As long as one is a grand slam, you're always going to be ahead. And so we live by that. If I'm going to invest in 10, I can get one grand slam, two of them or two or three are base hits, and the rest of them just crash and burn. I'm going to be way ahead because that one grand slam takes care of all the other nine. And hopefully we get a few base hits. Like we got a few base hits this year, which is great. But shoot, man, we had to shut some down. Like post COVID, right? It's not as easy as it was. Like as crazy as it sounds, like COVID was a great little like, hey, like sink or swim scenario. People went into
Mm-hmm.
it and they either just crashed and burned, or they went into it, they saw opportunity, they embraced the opportunity, and they grew phenomenally. So, like, that to
That's
me,
it right there.
I mean, it was a great bad situation. I hate that stuff happened, personal aspect, but as far as business goes, shit, man, like it was great. Like you found out, you think you're an entrepreneur, you made it through COVID, and you came out like way ahead. You probably were. If you couldn't make it
It,
through COVID, I don't know, man. Hopefully, wrong business.
you know what it was, honestly, and you can tell me I'm crazy, but I see the people who came out the other side of these last, let's call 4 or 5 years as successful are the ones that were willing to pivot, adapt, and do the new work that was required. Because things changed. There was a lot of
Yes.
like upheaval, decisions, and ways that things went down. Like that was new. It was like online, Zoom, podcasting, and all of these like we've embraced an entire new like revolution of technology and processes in this last 5 years. And you've seen it, the ones who have embraced
Yeah.
it and worked with it and taken AI and all of these things and said, okay, well, I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to fight with it so that we can win together. They're the ones that are
Yeah.
succeeding. But there's something you said that
Yes.
I want to touch on for a second because you mentioned the contracts and being rock solid. And being a sales show, I think it's important to mention that there will be some folks out there who are going to offer you equity to come and work for them to do the thing that you do great. And you need to be careful about those
Mm-hmm.
contracts too, because you might have a skill set. You might be a fucking phenomenal sales professional and be able to go and sell ice to an Eskimo, which I don't know why you do that. And I tell a funny story about that in my new book coming out. But like, point being, you might be really, really great at what you do. And someone may say, hey, well, let me give you equity in this company, or, let's start a company where we each get equity. But here's the thing, equity doesn't put food on the table. That's not the thing that you can count on
No.
right now to make a life off of. So, like, understanding the importance of how these deals are played out, what those contracts look like, and really what you need in this moment to be able to maintain the life that you're trying to create so that an equity deal makes sense. This is why you need to be on, learning and always educating yourself and paying attention, man, because like having one great skill set doesn't make you a great equity partner, and taking equity in someone's business that doesn't have any fucking plan for it to be successful isn't going to do you any good either.
No, you end up doing like a ton of work, that's not reciprocal,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody really pays attention to the impact of equity, right? Like this is, and we've seen this. We had a guy, great guy, man, really good salesperson, but like, I mean, just sales. Like this is the guy you're talking about, right? Like literally, ice and water and rain and snow, anything liquid to the freaking Eskimo, like he could sell it. But that was it. Like that was it, man. Like that's all he was focused on. It's the only thing he wanted to do. He doesn't like systems. Doesn't not an operational guy. Like this was a guy. Like we had a conversation like pre-COVID about he's a door knocker. This dude's old
Mm.
school sales. Well, hell, man, nobody wants to let you in the door. I'm like, yeah, you got to find a new door to knock on, bro. Like maybe it's a virtual door now instead of like a legit door. Like you got to find new
Yeah.
doors. But rock solid guy got into this deal, pretty decent deal, good dude, straight sales, and they decided that they were going to go hard on growth, right? Like we're going to do straight growth. Like he was still able to sell. He was doing some roofing sales on the side. So that was kind of feeding the kitty, so to speak. The other guy was like, no, I got the money. We're just going to every dollar into this thing. We're just going to grow it. We're going to, scale this thing up. We're going to, 50X, blah, blah. Well, first year comes up, made pretty good money. They kept it all in the business. So goes does his taxes, right? What they don't realize is you're an equity partner. So that profit that business makes, that gets transferred to you whether you get the money or not. And they did not get the money. They kept it in the business. So this guy has got like $100,000 tax liability based off of what this business made, and they did no distributions. The partner was like, no, bro, we said we're growing this thing. Like, that's your tax liability. You got to figure it out. Like, we're not distributing any money because we're growing this thing. Literally, I mean, this guy's looking at bankruptcy in the face on a profitable company because he didn't make sure the contract was good. They didn't talk about what it looks like at the end of the year when taxes come due. So now he's got $100-something thousand tax liability he's making payments on while this company's steadily growing. And what we did find out, and again, good dude, but like he had set it up where most of his personal expenditures, kind of business, we all know there's a gray area, but a lot of his stuff was getting paid by the business. So for him, not that big a deal, right? Like he had some money. A lot of his living expenses that this guy was paying for by selling roofing on the side was getting paid there, like vehicle, cell phone, all, and these are legitimate business, for the most part. Yeah. Again, they're, they're kind of squared, but yeah, normal expenses. But this guy had like almost no living expenses. So end of the year, he gets a tax liability. That's really his only expense. Whereas other dude, like he's making money to try to cover everything, $100-something grand in taxes, not really doable. So he had to liquidate some of his equity in a profitable company to be able to pay the tax liability on this equity that he was essentially given by this guy. Bad situation. Again, you hear it from the other guys, different story. And again, good dude. Neither one of them are bad people. He was just a little smarter on his contract, than the hardcore salesperson that came in. But like, you got to pay attention to this stuff, man. Every single thing you do matters. Like everything. If you can't close, I don't care how great you are to get up to the close. You get to the close and you can't close anybody, you're not a salesperson, right?
Come on.
If you're not willing to door knock, it ain't going to happen, right? Like you have to get people. If the only way you can sell is if you just are giving client, customers, like you name it, leads are just,
you're an order taker,
just
baby.
lead after lead after
you're
lead.
You're an order taker.
Exactly. Fuck yeah, exactly. You're an order taker, right? And like, that drives me crazy. I see this and they're like, oh man, I can sell, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, well, you called this person twice. What's your follow-up? When are you calling them back? You got emails? Like, what's going on there? Oh, no, man, they ain't serious. Fuck do you know? You called them twice. You don't know nothing. Like, you don't know what they are. You don't know where they're at. But,
Come on.
happens all the time, You're an order taker, bro. Like, those should be the ones that, like, keep you up at night. That one that you know's ready, but, like, they've given you every excuse. Oh, man, let me check with my wife. Oh, man, I've got, big bills coming up next month. Let me see what this. Oh, man, like, I just don't know. Like, I'm not really feeling it yet. Maybe next year. Like, all these stupid excuses that people have. When you know you've got a great product and you know that you're going to make their life better, that should be the easiest sell you ever make. For me, and again, not hardcore salesperson, but, like, everything that we do, everything my organization does helps people. Like, I know I'm going to put you in a better financial spot. So that is the easiest sell I'll ever make. If somebody's like, oh, hey, whatever excuse, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hey, man, yeah, no problem. I completely get it. Where are you going to be at the end of that? Are you going to go back to the CPA that you paid a bunch of money to, and then he just gave you like some paperwork that told you the extra money that you're going to be paying to the IRS? Or are you ready to like pay money and then like get money back at the end of it? And it's crazy to me, these people that they're like, oh man, my CPA, man, he's good. He's really good. It's affordable. I'm like, bro, if your CPA isn't a net positive for you, they're not good. If I take on a client, it's because every dollar they pay me is coming back to them in tax savings, right? Like, we should be net positives to the clients every time. Every time. You take on a fractional CFO, they should be finding whatever you're paying for those services. They should be finding that money plus some in the business, helping you grow, extra profitability, reduced expenses, blah, blah, blah. Like, if they're costing you money, they ain't the one. They ain't the one, right? Same thing. If you're in sales, you're not making life better, you ain't doing it right.
Come on, baby. He's preaching. You're preaching, Byron. Yeah. You're preaching, baby. I love it. I love it. I love it. And you know what, though? It's true. And that's why when we were able to make this show happen, I was so excited, because here's what I know about sales and sales professionals. We come into it, and the majority of us, we don't know fuck all about anything. And we start making a little bit of money because we know how to hustle. And then we realize, like, oh, well, all my hustler friends tell me I need to do this and I got to do this. So, like, we got 96 different people telling us how to avoid paying the system or doing things the right way, instead of one person that's like, hey, man, here's the secret. All that work they're trying to do to fucking avoid paying the money, you don't actually have to pay any of that if you just do it this way. They're trying so hard to do a thing they don't want to do when they don't have to do it to begin with. It's the wildest shit. And when you start making money in sales and having success, the thing that you truly, truly want to focus on is there are a million ways to make $1,000,000. And there are a million different kinds of vehicles that you can use to create wealth and legacy. What happens is you start building a Honda Civic, and then you decide like halfway into that you want to drive a Cadillac, so you start putting the Cadillac parts on there, and then a little bit later you decide, man, I'm cool, I want a Lambo, so now you're putting Lambo doors on your fucking Cadillac, and you got the shit looking all kinds of like a monster machine, and none of it's actually working the way it's supposed to. So Byron, I appreciate you sharing and providing some insight on this, because that is truly what I've seen a lot of people do and have happen. They get successful in sales and they fuck up their money because they don't talk to someone smart, or they get successful in sales and they start a business and they think that all they have to do is make more money and then everything just happens after that. And that's not the case either, unfortunately. With that being said, man, we know that sales is an important part of business. And if you could say to any new, sales professional or small business owner that's kind of getting their start and give them one piece of advice coming out of this episode, what would it be?
I would say don't ignore the taxes. If you wait until they're overwhelming, you wait until you've got that thing just like a fucking loaded gun staring you in the face, it's going to hurt a lot worse. But if you know up front, hey, I'm going to have to pay taxes. If you're full commission, you're going to pay taxes, right? You're a business owner, you're going to pay taxes. So like do the things on the front end that set you up for success on the back end. We know if we walk into a sale, we don't know the product, we don't know the client, we don't know the customer, we don't know shit about shit. It's going to be real hard to sell something when you don't know anything about it, right? Same thing. Be proactive. Pay attention to the fact, hey, you're going to have taxes at the end of this. If you get to the end of the year and you've made $1 million and you got $100,000 in write-off, you got a $900,000 you made, that's going to be a heavy, heavy tax liability. Heavy tax liability. So like, let's be proactive. Let's start. If you're a good salesman, you know you're going to make money. That's inevitable. You're going to know the product. You're going to know how to sell it. You're going to fucking crush it, right? And that's the mentality every salesperson should have. You never go into a sales position or anything like that thinking, yeah, I might do okay. Like you got to go into it knowing you're going to crush it. So you know you're going to crush it. So like, let's start setting that up on the front end. Set up your LLC correctly. Make sure your agreements are rock solid. Have a tax plan in place before that. Like have that stuff lined out. So at the end of the year, you're ready to rumble. Every one of our tax strategy clients, like we've already had this conversation. They're not worried about December 31st, January 1st. We've already done everything we need to get in that. Literally had a call right before you and I hopped on. We looked at the thing. We've done all the stuff. He's like, hey, man, got the stuff. Like, so we're about 80K, right? I need to spend 80K before the end of the year. I'm like, yeah, you're either going to pay tax on it or you need to fucking spend 80K. So we need to invest it in something. We can do it for write-off. Or if you got a vehicle, we can do the 179. We got that left over. Here's your options for this 80K. The worst one is fucking ignoring it until January 1 and giving it to the tax man. Here's the good ones, right? So just all you got to do is be proactive. If you are prepared for a sale, some shit about the client, right? Their kids' names, like their dogs' names, something about that client if you're going to go into it. The product, it's good for the customer. That customer is going to be better off after they buy from you. That because you proactively did the research going into that. Fucking treat everything the same way, right? Tax is the same thing. Business is the same thing. Like be proactive. Set yourself up from the beginning for the success that you are going to have in whatever you pursue. Because if you're a badass salesperson, you're going to have success, period. And there ain't nobody on this that ain't a badass salesperson.
Yeah, that's what I'm fucking talking about, Byron, man. That's why I love you, bro. So, hey, if someone's trying to learn more about what you do and like how to make sure they don't fuck up all this money they're about to make, how can they come and find you and learn about what you guys do? Because I know you'll point them in the right direction one way or the other.
Oh, 100%. So, we'll do a free analysis. We're going to look at what you got, right? We're going to say, hey, this is where you're at. This is what you need to do. If I can't justify the fee, right, and we start at around 10 grand, if I can't guarantee that my 10 grand is going to give you 30 grand or more back, I don't want you as a client. Because every one of my clients needs to be a raving fan. If you've never read the book and you're in sales, go fucking read the book right now. But like raving fan, that's the only client that I want, right? So if I can't crush it with the money that you're going to pay me and give you a 3X or better return, I don't want you as a client. I'm going to give you the things that you need to do. I'm going to say, hey, do this, and this. Holler at me next year when I can justify the money that you're getting ready to pay me. But right now, I can't make you a raving fan. But this is what you need to do to step up your game so that you can be that in the future. Like that's what I want to do. So have them hit me up. CFO AF. It's very easy to find. CFOAF.com's on the website. CFO AF on social medias, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. We're out there. We're the only CFO AF out there. So hit me up. Send me a DM on Facebook. Probably the fastest way to get in touch with me. Or hit me up on the website. There's a thing you can set up an appointment. We don't want your money until we know we can make you a raving fan. So don't be worried about that. Send us your shit. Let us look at it. We'll tell you what you need to do. If I can really crush it and I can turn you into a raving fan, you're going to pay a little bit of money for that, but you're going to be getting a hell of a lot more money back in those tax savings and like the future that's going to come from the money that you're going to invest.
I love that, man. I always call it buying money at a discount. It's like, hey, man, you're going to pay me X, and in return, you're going to get this, which is an exponential higher number.
Yes.
If you're in with that, cool. If not, I'm okay with that too. I don't want to work together because that's not what we're here to do. If we can't create exponential return, it doesn't make sense. And Byron, I've seen it. I know that you're one of those guys that truly does care, and I appreciate the fact that you go above and beyond to do that for myself, the community, everybody that we know, man. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here, to share some stories, to share so much wisdom. I know some folks are going to hear this and be like, 2024 is my year. I'm going to make the most ever, so I better get my shit in line and be proactive. So make sure you guys go check them out. CFO AF, they're everywhere. You can't miss them. He's the man. And more importantly, if you like this show, you got some value out of it, you had a little fun with us, hit subscribe, share it out on social media, tag us at Call the Damn Leads. That's why we're going to get more people to learn and grow together. And also, if you've got a wild-ass sales story, you've got some shit that you think the world needs to hear, whether you use the actual names or not, that's okay. We can protect them for their, anonymity, but we want to share your story. Head over to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. Send me your information. Let's get connected. Let's bring you on the show because that's the thing, man. I love the sales community. I know everyone that's in sales likes helping, is really, truly here to serve, just like my man, Byron. And I would love to share your story. So callthedamnleads.com/podcast. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks, Byron.